The ship is responding to Chen, Okafor said, fascinated. Try touching something. Maya hesitated, then placed her gloved hand on what intuition told her was an access panel. The surface brightened beneath her touch, lines of light spreading outward like ripples in water. A moment later, the entire chamber hummed to life, systems awakening from millennia of dormancy. How did you do that? Nakamura asked, stepping closer. I didn't. Maya replied, equally confused. It just responded to me. Dr. Okafor was already recording everything. The technology must have some kind of biological recognition system that's still functional after all these years. Remarkable engineering. But why would it respond to a human? Volkov asked, still suspicious. Before anyone could theorize further, a holographic display activated above the console, casting the chamber in a soft blue glow. It projected what appeared to be a ship schematic, with one section pulsing rhythmically. I think it's directing us somewhere, Maya said, studying the projection. This looks like a map of the vessel, and that pulsing area might be important. Or it could be a trap, Volkov cautioned. I don't think so, Maya replied, feeling strangely certain. It feels like an invitation. The team followed the map deeper into the ancient vessel, moving through corridors where lights activated as Maya approached and doorways that slid open at her presence. The further they ventured, the stronger Maya's sense of familiarity grew. She couldn't explain it, but operating in this alien environment felt increasingly natural. We're approaching the highlighted section, Okafor announced as they reached a massive sealed doorway. Unlike the others they'd encountered, this one remained firmly closed. Maya studied the door's edge, noting what appeared to be an access panel. Without hesitation, she placed her hand against it. The panel illuminated beneath her touch, but the door remained sealed. Maybe it needs more, she murmured, removing her glove despite Volkov's protests. The moment her bare skin contacted the alien metal, she felt a sharp tingling sensation. The door's seams glowed brilliantly, and it slid open with a hiss of equalizing pressure. Beyond lay a chamber unlike any they'd seen before, a vast spherical space with a central column that stretched from floor to ceiling, surrounded by concentric rings of workstations. The entire room hummed with dormant energy. This must be their engineering section, Maya whispered, stepping forward. The chamber responded to her presence dramatically, illuminating in a cascade of light that spread from where she stood to the farthest reaches of the sphere. At the central column, a console activated as Maya approached. Lines of unknown symbols scrolled across its surface, too fast for her to follow, though strangely, she felt she could almost understand them. Something's happening, Nakamura said, his scanner beeping urgently. Power levels are rising throughout the ship. Maya placed both hands on the console's surface, and the scrolling symbols froze. A moment later, they were replaced by a three-dimensional hologram of a humanoid figure. Its proportions were similar to a human's, but with subtle anatomical differences, slightly elongated limbs, a larger cranium, and six-fingered hands. The hologram studied Maya with apparent interest, then spoke in a language none of them had ever heard before. I can't understand it, Okafor said, already activating her translation program. But Maya frowned, tilting her head. I almost can. It's like I can feel the meaning, even if the words make no sense. The hologram paused, seeming to recalibrate. When it spoke again, its words emerged in stilted but recognizable English. Genetic signature recognized. Descendant identified. Welcome, child of the architects. Child of the what? Volkov asked. The architects, Maya repeated, the term resonating within her in ways she couldn't explain. I think that's what they call themselves. The species that built this ship. The hologram continued. This vessel has waited 5,247 standard years for the return of compatible genetic material. You are not pure architect, but you carry our legacy. What does that mean? Maya asked directly. Before the Great Collapse, We seeded compatible worlds with modified genetic material, variations of our own species adapted to diverse environments. Your species bears the markers of our work. The team exchanged stunned glances as the implications became clear. It's saying humans were genetically engineered by these architects. Nakamura's scientific skepticism was evident in his voice. Not engineered, Maya corrected, somehow understanding the distinction. Guided, they accelerated our evolution along certain pathways. That would upend our entire understanding of human origins, Okafor breathed. The hologram shifted, displaying what appeared to be a star map. This observation vessel was one of many. When the collapse came, our civilization fractured. This ship's systems were placed in dormancy, awaiting rediscovery by our descendants. What was the collapse? Maya asked. Before the hologram could answer, Volkov's communicator chimed urgently. "This is Horizon." Captain Rodriguez's voice came through, tight with tension. "We're detecting multiple vessels approaching at high speed. They're not responding to hails and are on an intercept course." "How long do we have?" Volkov demanded. 20 minutes, maybe less," Rodriguez replied. "Whatever you're doing in there, wrap it up. We may need to evacuate quickly." The hologram, seemingly understanding their predicament, spoke again. "Hostiles approach. They detect this vessel's reactivation. They are the reason for our collapse." "Who are they?" Maya asked. "The Devourers. They consume technology and knowledge. They destroy our civilization. They will destroy yours." "Can this ship defend itself?" Volkov asked practically. "Systems are at minimal capacity after prolonged dormancy. Full reactivation requires primary core initialization." Maya looked at the central column with sudden understanding. "The power core. It's still functional, just dormant." "Can you restart it?" Okafor asked. Maya studied the console, feeling that strange sense of intuition guiding her again. "I think I can, but we'll need time." "Time we don't have," Volkov replied grimly. "Rodriguez, prepare the Horizon for emergency departure. We're returning now." "No," Maya said firmly, surprising herself as much as her teammates. "If these Devourers destroy the architects, and they're still out there hunting advanced technology, we can't just run. Sooner or later, they'll find Earth." "What are you suggesting?" Nakamura asked. Maya turned back to the hologram. "If I restart the core, can this ship fly again? Can it defend itself?" "Affirmative. With proper initialization, defensive and propulsion systems can be brought online." "You're suggesting we try to reactivate a 5,000-year-old alien vessel in less than 20 minutes?" Volkov asked incredulously. Maya's hands were already moving across the console with increasing confidence. "I'm suggesting we don't have a choice. The Horizon doesn't have the firepower to face whatever's coming. But this ship might." The hologram's light pulsed brighter. "Descendant understands. Beginning emergency core initialization protocols. Warning: accelerated reactivation carries significant risks." "What kind of risks?" Okafor asked nervously. "Catastrophic system failure, core destabilization, total vessel destruction." "So if you make a mistake, we all die," Volkov summarized bluntly. Maya took a deep breath, hands hovering over the alien console. "Yes, but if we do nothing, we might all die anyway. And eventually, so might Earth." Captain Rodriguez's voice came through the comm again, more urgent now. "Multiple vessels confirmed hostile. Weapons charging. 15 minutes to intercept." Maya locked eyes with each team member in turn. "I need to try. The rest of you should return to the Horizon." Volkov regarded her with grudging respect, then shook his head. "Captain, prepare for emergency departure without us. We're staying to assist Chief Chen." "You're what?" Rodriguez demanded. "Attempting to reactivate this vessel's defensive systems," Volkov replied calmly. "If we succeed, we'll rendezvous with you at the emergency coordinates. If not..." He left the implication hanging. After a moment of silence, Rodriguez replied, "Understood. Good luck." Maya turned back to the console, feeling the weight of responsibility settle on her shoulders. "All right," she said to the hologram. "Show me how to bring this ship back to life." "Initialization commencing," the hologram replied. "Connecting descendant to core systems." The console beneath Maya's hands warmed noticeably. Lines of energy coursed up her arms, not painful but intense, as if the ship were establishing a direct connection to her nervous system. "What's happening?" she gasped, even as information began flooding her consciousness. Schematics, procedures, system architectures unlike anything humanity had developed, yet somehow familiar to her on a fundamental level. "Direct neural interface activated," the hologram announced, transferring operational protocols to compatible descendant. Maya's eyes widened as understanding bloomed in her mind. She suddenly knew this ship, its systems, its capabilities, its history, with an intimacy that defied explanation. "I can do this," she whispered, fingers dancing across the console with newfound certainty. "I can bring it back online." As the hostile vessels drew ever closer, Maya Chen prepared to resurrect a technology 5,000 years dead and perhaps change humanity's destiny forever. Resurrection and revelation. 10 minutes to intercept, Volkov announced, monitoring the situation through his comm link with the horizon. Rodriguez reports 5 vessels, configuration unknown. They're ignoring all attempts at communication. Maya barely heard him. Her consciousness was partially merged with the ancient ship's systems, her fingers moving across the control interfaces with increasing confidence. Information flowed directly into her mind, not as language, but as pure understanding. "The primary core is intact," she reported, her voice distant even to her own ears. "Just dormant. The architects designed it to last for tens of thousands of years." "Can you restart it in time?" Okafor asked, anxiously watching as Maya manipulated controls no human had ever touched before. "I think so. The ship is responding to my commands, but there are barriers, safety protocols that need to be overridden." A hologram flickered beside her. "Warning. Accelerated reactivation sequence detected. This violates standard safety parameters." "We don't have time for standard parameters," Maya replied, not breaking her focus. "The Devourers will be here in minutes. Override safety protocol Alpha 7-9. A hologram paused, as if evaluating her authorization. "Genetic authentication confirmed. Safety overrides accepted. Beginning emergency reactivation sequence." The central column pulsed with increasing intensity. Rings of light spiraled upward through its transparent sections, illuminating the chamber with energy that had lain dormant for millennia. "Something's happening," Nakamura reported, studying his scanner. "Power readings are spiking throughout the ship. Core temperature rising," the hologram confirmed. "Containment fields stabilizing at 70% capacity." Maya frowned, feeling the instability through her connection with the ship. "That's not enough. We need at least 85% for weapon systems. Insufficient power reserves for full containment restoration," the hologram stated. Maya thought quickly, the ship's schematics unfolding in her mind. What about rerouting auxiliary power from the dormant sections in the lower decks? Viable solution. Executing. The deck beneath them vibrated as ancient machinery awakened. The central column blazed brighter, the spiraling energy accelerating. Containment fields at 82% and rising, the hologram reported. Core stabilization approaching acceptable parameters. 5 minutes to intercept, Volkov warned. The horizon has retreated to minimum safe distance. Maya nodded absently, her focus entirely on the ship's awakening systems. Through her neural connection, she could feel the vessel stirring around them, like a slumbering giant gradually returning to consciousness. "There's something else," she murmured, following an intuitive pathway through the ship's database. "A defensive protocol. It's called the Guardian Directive." "What does it do?" Okafor asked. "I'm not sure yet, but it seems to be their primary defense against the Devourers." It requires full power, though, which we don't have, Nakamura pointed out. Maya's eyes narrowed in concentration. Not yet, but there's another way. She turned to the hologram. The neural interface. Can it be deepened? Warning. Enhanced neural synchronization carries significant biological risk to non-architect physiology. What kind of risk? Volkov demanded. Neural pathway overload. Potential cerebral damage. In extreme cases, consciousness dissociation. She could lose her mind, Okafor translated grimly. Maya set her jaw. I'll risk it. We need that defensive system online. Maya, Nakamura began, but she cut him off. There's no time to debate this. I can feel the connection already. It's like the ship knows me. Trusts me. She addressed the hologram directly. Initiate enhanced neural synchronization. The hologram seemed to hesitate, then responded. Authentication confirmed. Preparing enhanced neural interface. The console beneath Maya's hands reconfigured itself, extending to enclose her forearms. She gasped as the connection deepened, information flooding her consciousness at an overwhelming rate. 3 minutes to intercept, Volkov reported. Hostiles are charging weapons. Through the maelstrom of data, Maya focused on the Guardian Directive. The concept unfolded in her mind, not a conventional weapon, but a sophisticated countermeasure designed specifically to neutralize Devourer technology. The architects had developed it in the final days of their civilization, but too late to save themselves. I found it, she announced, her voice strained. Initiating Guardian Directive. The ship shuddered around them as ancient defensive systems activated. The hologram's light pulsed urgently. Warning. Power requirements exceed current capacity. Core destabilization imminent. Redirect life support from unoccupied sections, Maya ordered, sweat beading on her forehead as she fought to maintain control of the accelerating systems. Prioritize defensive shields and the Guardian Array. Executing commands. Guardian Array charging at 60% capacity. Not enough, Maya whispered. She could feel the approaching Devourer vessels through the ship's sensors now. Predatory, implacable, radiating a cold hunger that transcended mere aggression. An idea formed in her mind, dangerous but potentially decisive. The observation modules in sections 12 through 17. They have independent power cells. Can they be extracted and redirected to the core? The hologram paused, calculating. Affirmative, but such action will render those sections permanently non-functional. Do it. 1 minute to intercept, Volkov announced grimly. Brace for potential impact. Through the neural interface, Maya felt the ship cannibalizing itself, sacrificing non-essential systems to power its defenses. The central column blazed with near-blinding intensity as the redirected energy flowed into the core. Guardian Array at 85% capacity, the hologram reported. Minimum operational threshold achieved. Target the lead vessel and activate, Maya commanded. Hostiles within weapons range, Volkov warned. Outside, the Devourer ships, sleek, predatory craft with hull configurations that seemed to shift and flow like liquid metal, surrounded the ancient vessel. Their weapons ports glowed with accumulated energy, preparing to fire. Guardian Array activated. For a moment, nothing seemed to happen. Then Maya felt it through the ship's sensors, a wave of energy unlike conventional weapons fire, more like a precisely calibrated disruption field. It washed over the lead Devourer vessel, and for a heartbeat, everything was still. Then the hostile ship's systems simply stopped. Its lights flickered and died. Its weapons powered down. Its engines fell silent. It hung motionless in space, completely neutralized. What just happened? Okafor demanded. Maya smiled through her exhaustion. The Guardian Directive. It's a targeted electromagnetic pulse, but far more sophisticated, designed specifically to counteract Devourer technology without damaging the ship itself. Can you target the others? Volkov asked, new respect in his voice. Array recharging, the hologram reported. Estimated time to second discharge, 47 seconds. The other ships are retreating, Nakamura announced, watching through a newly activated view screen. They're breaking formation. They're scared, Maya realized. They've never encountered an operational architect vessel before, only derelicts they could safely scavenge. Guardian array at 60% charge. Enemy vessels moving out of effective range. Pursue them, Volkov suggested. Maya shook her head. We can't. Not yet. The ship's systems are barely stable as it is. We need time to properly reactivate everything. As the Devourer vessels retreated into the darkness, Maya carefully began disengaging from the enhanced neural interface. The sudden separation left her gasping, knees buckling as her consciousness contracted back to its normal boundaries. Nakamura caught her before she could fall. Easy, he murmured. You did it. They're running. For now, Maya replied, blinking as her vision readjusted to normal perception. But they'll be back. With reinforcements. The hologram reappeared, studying Maya with what almost seemed like concern. Core stabilization achieved. Primary systems online. Descendant status. Physically stressed but neural patterns intact. Thank you for your concern, Maya said dryly. The horizon is hailing us, Volkov announced. Rodriguez wants to know what the hell just happened. Tell him. Maya paused, considering the magnitude of what they'd discovered. Tell him we found something that changes everything. For humanity. For everyone. As Volkov relayed the message, Dr. Okafor approached Maya, her expression a mixture of scientific fascination and personal concern. What was it like? She asked quietly, being connected to the ship that way. Maya struggled to find words for the experience, like remembering something I never knew I'd forgotten. The technology is alien, but it didn't feel alien to me. It felt familiar, Okafor finished for her, because according to this ship, we're descended from its creators. Partially, Maya corrected. The hologram said we carry some of their genetic markers. They guided our evolution, but we developed on our own path. The hologram interjected, apparently following their conversation. The architects seeded many worlds with genetic potential. Each was encouraged to develop independently, creating diverse approaches to survival and advancement. This was our legacy. Biodiversity as a defense against extinction. A backup plan, Nakamura mused. If their civilization fell, their genetic legacy would continue through species like humans. And others, the hologram confirmed. 17 seeded species achieved spaceflight capability before the collapse. Current status of other descendants, unknown. 17 other intelligent species out there, potentially related to the architects. Okafor breathed. The implications for xenoanthropology are staggering. Captain Rodriguez's voice came through the comm, interrupting their revelations. If you're done with your alien archaeology lesson, I'd appreciate a status report. Are you in control of that vessel or not? Maya exchanged glances with her teammates before responding. Yes, Captain. We have operational control. The ship has accepted me as, well, as a descendant of its original crew. A pause, then. That's going to make for an interesting mission report. Is it safe to approach for docking? Affirmative, Maya replied. We're stabilizing systems now. As the horizon cautiously approached the ancient vessel, Maya turned back to the hologram. What happens now? What do you expect from us? Primary directive. Reconnect with other architect vessels and installations. Secondary directive. Establish contact with other descendant species. Tertiary directive. Prepare defenses against the Devourer's return. There are more ships like this one. Volkov asked sharply. 6 observation vessels were stationed throughout this sector. Status unknown. Additionally, 3 seeding facilities remain in dormancy at coordinated locations. Maya felt the weight of discovery settling on her shoulders. And you expect us, humans, to find them, to reactivate them. You carry architect genetic markers. The vessels will respond to you as this one did. The neural compatibility you demonstrated exceeds predicted parameters. You are optimal. There's that word again, Nakamura murmured. Optimal. It keeps using it to describe you specifically, Maya. Maya frowned. What do you mean by optimal? Why did this ship respond so strongly to me in particular? The hologram's light pulsed in what seemed like consideration. Your genetic profile contains an unusually high concentration of architect markers. Analysis suggests lineage from primary seeding population, with minimal genetic drift. You're saying I'm more closely related to the architects than most humans? Maya asked, startled. Affirmative. Approximately 3.7% greater marker concentration than standard human baseline. That doesn't sound like much, Volkov observed. It is sufficient, the hologram replied. The difference between species is often measured in single-digit percentage variations. Dr. Okafor was already considering the implications. This could explain your intuitive engineering abilities, Maya. Your unusual connection with machines. Maya had always attributed her talents to practice and dedication. The idea that they might have an extraterrestrial genetic component was simultaneously fascinating and unsettling. The Horizon is preparing to dock, Volkov reported. Rodriguez wants to know our next move. Maya looked at the hologram, then back at her teammates. We need to report this discovery to Earth immediately. The knowledge this ship contains, about our origins, about these devours, it's too important to keep to ourselves. Agreed, Okafor said. But what about the ship itself? If what it says is true, there are more vessels out there, more facilities waiting to be found, and more devourers hunting them, Nakamura added grimly. Maya turned to the hologram. Can this ship be fully reactivated, made space-worthy again? Affirmative. With proper time and resources, all systems can be restored to 97% of original capacity, and it's faster than light capabilities. Fold space drive, intact but dormant. Estimated restoration time, 14 standard days. Maya nodded slowly, a plan forming in her mind. Then that's what we'll do. We'll help restore this ship, learn everything we can from it, and then, Volkov prompted. Then we find the others, Maya said simply. We reconnect what was broken 5,000 years ago, and we prepare for the devourers, because if they found this ship, they'll eventually find Earth. The hologram's light pulsed in what might have been approval. The sequence resumes. The architect's legacy continues through you, descendant. As the Horizon completed its docking procedures, Maya stared at the central column, watching ancient energy flow through systems designed by a long-vanished civilization that had, apparently, helped shape humanity's very existence. 5,000 years of silence, she murmured. And now everything changes. The ship hummed around them, as if in agreement, an ancient sentinel awakening to find not its original masters, but their children, returned at last to claim their inheritance. And somewhere in the darkness between stars, the devourers regrouped, their hunger undiminished by this unexpected setback. The ancient war that had destroyed the architects was about to begin anew, with humanity standing where their predecessors had fallen. But this time, Maya thought with grim determination,